Hey guys, welcome back to the History Shelf. My name is Peg. Thanks for joining me today. Today's Wednesday, November 26th. I have the day off, took it off, woo, and I have the next 2 days off for Thanksgiving. So I hope everyone out there is getting ready for a long weekend with friends and family and food, good food, and football. Let's not forget football. We've got the Michigan Ohio State rivalry on Saturday, but even bigger than all that. Actually, nothing's bigger than the Michigan Ohio State game. Got my Detroit Lions playing on Thanksgiving tomorrow against Green Bay at home. And we just got a bunch of good news. This is, I know if you're not a football fan, just tune out for the next 10 seconds. We just found out that our all pro center, Frank Ragnow, is coming out of retirement to pull our butts out of the fire, which means the rest of the season is looking up because our offensive line has sucked and we needed our guy back. He's coming out of retirement, not for the game tomorrow, but we're going to be ready to go. So Peg's feeling really happy about that. Yep, I refer to myself in the third person. All right, so this is going to be kind of a chatty video, a long video, because I have a lot of books to go through. From time to time, I like to show you books that I've purchased secondhand, either from used bookstores or online. And these are books that I've kind of been accruing over the last several months. So this wasn't all one big splurge. This was one here, one there, and they just kind of piled up. Some of the books I got from recommendations on BookTube from other booktubers. And others I got from reading books and people talking about some of their favorite books and writers. So let's and I have some are mostly they're fiction, mostly they're nonfiction history, but I do have some that I'm going to show you that were fiction. And I still have a little bit of a pile downstairs too, but there's just no way I could do all of these used books in one video. So let's dive in with, I think I could have sworn I showed you guys this, and maybe I did, but we're going to show it again. I have this book in trade paperback, but I've always wanted this this beautiful hardcover from the what year was this printed? 1991. I love the cover of this book, but this is a big beast of a book and a classic, by the way. But I've always wanted it in this hardcover, and I think I'm going to try to buy the Mylar covering and put a Mylar cover on this. But this is by Robert K. Massie, and this is his gargantuan book, Dreadnought. Britain, Germany, and the Coming of the Great War. Like I said, I have this and The Castles of Steel by Robert K. Massie in trade paperback. But this one in particular, I love this book. I love this cover, this old cover. And you can see it's got some spillage. I'm going to try to clean that off. But anyway, I think I got this through thrift books. But other than the little bit of a schmutz on the back cover, it's in great condition. And this is his classic book, although there's a little bit of breaking along the spine, but right here. But sometimes that happens. I'll see if I can reinforce it on the inside with tape. I've seen it done. I can pull up a YouTube tutorial video and make sure that the inside here, they are all together. But yeah, this is his classic about, I can't read the whole blurb, but there's just too much. Let's see here. Give me a synopsis. I can tell people. There's too much to go over, guys. There's a lot going on in this book, but for those of you who know, you know that Dreadnought is a classic. So, and I love reading about what led up to World War One, going back into the Proud Tower type of historiography, like Barbara Tuchman did. So Dreadnought by Robert K. Massie. Really, really thrilled to find a decent copy That didn't break the bank. Now, another big book I picked up is one I've been meaning to get, and I was always wanting the hardcover. I've seen it in the smaller trade paperback, but I just said no. I want this in hardcover. Pretty good used edition. Definitely gotten loose. But this is The Last Empress, Madame Chiang Kai-shek and the Birth of Modern China by Hannah Pacula. This one is from Simon & Schuster, and the other one is from Random House. But anyway, The Last Empress, I've always wanted to read about Madame Chiang Kai-shek. Let's go with the focus. As you can see, big read. It's got my deckled edges, so I just had to have it in a hardcover. And I love reading biographies, historical people. This kind of goes with my, I don't know what's going on in that picture. Just keep looking, people. Let's move on. I don't know what that was. There they are, the young newlyweds. Soong Mei-ling and Chiang Kai-shek's wedding portrait, December 1st, 1929. Oh, that's lovely. Beautiful. What was I going to say? Kind of lost track of. Yes, I have a biography of Chiang Kai-shek, which is not as sturdy as I needed it to be, and I bought it used. So I'm looking at still trying to find the hardcover of that one. But I picked up The Last Empress. All right, I'm going to give shout-outs where shout-outs are due. I saw this book on David Murphy's channel, so thank you, David. So I went in search of a used copy as well, because I'm always fascinated by this guy and his theories, which so many people think are absolutely miraculous. But anyway, so this is kind of a beat up used edition, but it's still very workable. And this is Karl Marx, a political biography by Fritz Raditz. Can't remember where I picked it up. Probably Thrift Books. As you can see, the cover's been kind of there we go. Definitely kind of worn. But yeah, I saw this on David's channel, and I wanted to see what this one had to say. And let's see here. When did this come out? A political biography. So this one came out in 1978. So let me go into some of this for you. Fritz Raditz interprets Marx's enigmatic and multifaceted character with imagination and insight. At the same time, he charts the intellectual development of Marx from his first essays written at the age of 24, when still a struggling newspaper editor in Cologne, to the apogee of his life's work, Das Kapital. Raditz explores the stunning contradictions and discord of Marx's life in revealing detail. As a young man, Marx's university days were wasted in drinking, brawling, and dueling. As an impoverished émigré, he demanded money from his friends and promised non-existent books to editors. What a swell fellow. Marx's household, rather than a model of socialist living, remained staunchly bourgeois. It's always that way. Anyone who's espousing an ideology usually does not live by that ideology. It's really funny. It's like, do as I say, not as I do. Anyway. His social and political life, Raditz observes, was strewn with the debris of broken and abandoned relationships with co-revolutionaries, co-emigres, co-communists. The vicious disputes with Proudhon, Bruno Bauer, Feuerbach, Bakunin, and Weitling were notorious in their day. Marx's domineering arrogance and dictatorial manner constantly threatened the international socialist movement he had envisioned. So this is going to be a really interesting book, very juicy. Yeah, illegitimate son. Lots of things going on here. So thanks, David, for putting this one on my radar. And I was happy to find a copy. So, yay. So this one's a newer book, and definitely one, let's see, it came out in 2022. And I think this is a UK book, so I had to go searching for it. And I can't remember what I paid for it, but I definitely wanted the hardcover, but it sounds another juicy read. This is Circus of Dreams, Adventures in the 1980s Literary World by John Walsh. This is put out by Constable Books. I'll tell you a little bit about this. Something extraordinary happened to the UK literary scene in the 1980s. In the space of 8 years, a generation of young British writers took the literary novel into new realms of setting, subject matter, and style, challenging and almost eclipsing the establishment writers of the 1950s. It began with two names, Martin Amis and Ian McEwan, and became a flood. Then you had Julian Barnes, William Boyd, Graham Swift, Salman Rushdie, Jeanette Winterson, and Pat Barker among them. The rise of the newcomers coincided with astonishing changes in the way books were published and the ways in which readers bought them and interacted with their authors. Suddenly, authors of serious fiction were like rock stars, fashionable, sexy creatures, shrewdly marketed and feted in public. The yearly bun fight of the Booker Prize became a matter of keen public interest. Tim Waterstone established the first of a chain of revolutionary bookshops. London publishing houses became the playground of exciting visionary entrepreneurs who introduced new forms of fiction, magical realist, feminist, post-colonial, gay, to modern readers. Independent houses began to spend ostentatious sums on author advances in glamorous book launches. It was nothing short of a watershed in literary culture. And its climax was the issuing of a death sentence by a fundamentalist leader whose hostility to Western ideas of free speech made him literally the world's most lethal critic. Through this exciting, hectic period, the journalist and author John Walsh, our author here, played many parts: literary editor, reviewer, interviewer, prize judge, and TV pundit. He met and interviewed numerous literary stars, attended the best launch parties, and digested all the gossip, or as they like to say, the hot goss. He digested all the gossip and scandal of the time. In Circus of Dreams, he reports on what he found, first with wide-eyed delight, and then with a keen eye on what drove this glorious era. The result is a unique hybrid of personal memoir, oral history, literary investigation, and elegy for a golden age. And for anyone who likes to read about writers in the publishing and the publishing industry and the writing scene, this is a cool ass book to have, and I'm excited to check this out. Fascinating. Who is this? This one woman down here looks like B. Arthur. Sorry. Liz called her. I apologize, but you kind of do with that hair. Anyway, yeah, this is all cool stuff, guys. Whoa, so I picked this up secondhand. Circus of Dreams by John Walsh. 1 second. Okay. The next book. I feel like I've shown it to you before, but our memories are short, aren't they? So I'll show it to you again. This book, Bill Rutenberg sent to me. Bill, I want to thank you again for it, and I still need to start it. But kind of goes along with the other book, the Madame Chiang Kai-shek, in a way, but more of the immigrant experience. And this is Iris Chang's, and we all know Iris Chang's. I've got her book down here right behind me, right there, The Rape of Nanking. She is the author of that classic, but this is her other book, The Chinese in America, A Narrative History. And Bill had it. He asked if I would be interested in it. I said, absolutely. And I just read a brand new book about the Chinese experience in America called Strangers in the Land by, I think it's Michael Luo. And it was great. It's a very recent release earlier this year. I reviewed it for Washington Independent Review of Books. And that kind of got me into it. So I think Bill knew that I had read something. I think we were talking about it on Voxer or something. So he mentioned this book. And I said, yes, if you're looking to unhaul it or you picked it up for me, thank you so much. So this is great. This is going to go right next to her book on the rape of Nanking down there. And I need to figure out when I'm going to read this. As you know, I have so many books, so little time. But I am getting closer to doing more of standalone book reviews, or at least I'm going to compile several books over time that I've read that I haven't reviewed. That's the thing. Books that I review for payment, I don't double dip. Someone commissions me to write a review, it belongs to them. So I don't want to, it's kind of like an honor system thing, in the world of book reviewing. Now, books I review for free that I don't get compensated for, I'm going to start having book wrap-up thoughts on this channel. And that's probably going to be in the realm of mostly historical fiction. I read and review a lot of books for Historical Novels Review, which is not compensated. So even though they're published, my hands look weird when I'm doing this. I just realized it looks like I have tiny hands, like that Kristen Wiig character on Saturday Night Live with the little tiny hands. I just cracked myself up. Okay, I don't have tiny hands, everybody. I am proportioned correctly. All right. It just looked funny. Sorry. I'm just like, squirrel. So anyway, I hope you're just having fun with me. I just wanted this to be a fun kind of informal video talking about my used books. But yes. Oh, just lost my train of thought. Irish Chang, the Chinese in America. I can't believe I just lost my train of thought over that. So I was doing this, and then what happened, Peg? I don't know. So we're just going to continue until it comes back to me. Yeah. So thanks again, Bill, for the Chinese in America. Oh yes, I was talking about books and how I have so many books. Oh, and then I was going to start giving. Yes, how did I just forget all that? Well, it's because I got a lot on my plate, but it's a good thing to have. It's a good problem to have. So I hope you guys would be interested in that. I'm going to be doing more wrap-up thoughts on my videos. I still want to get back to this one. I hope to get this read over some of my holiday break. A few of you in the last video I did where I showed this book were like, yeah, we'd like for you to report back on this one. So I want to do that. But again, as a freelance book reviewer, I don't want to cannibalize the things that I'm getting payment for. So, but what you will see on this channel are the things that I'm able to speak on, even if I've written them, but they're not compensated. It's just something in the biz. If you don't do it for, not for a living, I mean, I do it as a sideline, but it's just a little interesting fact, a little factoid about book reviewing. And that's my philosophy on it. So you're going to be seeing more of that on this channel, and more author reviews, interviews. I hope you guys are enjoying my interviews because I'm scheduling more and more. So, woo! All right, we're moving on. So I'm missing the third book. I still have to pick up the third book in this trilogy, but I have bought these books. I think one of them I bought used, and the other I paid full price for, but I wanted them together to show you. I want to do another deep dive into the Battle of Gettysburg. And this is an author that I have not read yet. I don't think I have. And if I did, it was way long ago when I was just in my teens probably, and it's time to go back to it. But anyway, this is Harry W. Fans's, and this is the third one. Okay, so I'm missing the first book, aren't I? Hang on, everybody. I know I'm leaving you hanging. God, what is the first one called? Okay. I'm missing the first one, which is called Gettysburg, the First Day. I'm going to be getting it. So then I picked up Harry Fans's Gettysburg, the Second Day. This is put out by UNC, University of North Carolina Press. But I got this one, a very decent used copy. I mean, it's like new. Oh no, what happened here on page 88? No! Oh my God! Why am I just now seeing this? Oh, you guys. What the hell is happening here? Wow. I just assumed the book was in perfect. Peg's gonna have to go back and look at her order. Look at this. What the hell happened here? All right, University of North Carolina Press. I hope you can make things right. Is this throughout the whole book? No, but this line goes all the way up through like 200, page 290, 300 pages almost. So that's not good. Well, that's a bummer. All right. Third book in the series does not have that same issue. Thank goodness. And this is his Gettysburg, Culp's Hill, and Cemetery Hill. So, yeah. I'm going to have to figure out if I ordered this direct or... Okay, going to have to figure that one out. But anyway, I've been wanting to do another deep dive into Gettysburg for a book that I haven't already read. And I've read a lot of one-volume treatments of Gettysburg. But I've been really curious about Harry Fance's trilogy. So, pick those up at different times. Let me show you this one. So I got this book from reading another book from an author that I've interviewed on this channel, Amy Hawke. When I did my interview with her on her book, The Judas Effect, How Evangelicals Betrayed Jesus for Power, you know, she did a lot of research in her book, looking at totalitarian mindsets and characters and in looking at Trump. And one of the works that she cited in her book is one I never heard of before. And I actually mentioned it in the interview with her, and she goes, oh, that book was amazing, and it tells you so much. So I had to find a used copy of it. So I picked up The Psychopathic God, Adolf Hitler by Robert G. L. Waite. This was from Da Capo Press. You know, standard used copy. I think I got it for about maybe $8 or $9. But with shipping and handling a little more. This book was published in 1990. Well, okay, the Da Capo edition was 1993, but this was done in 1977. Robert G. L. Waite, Psychopathic God. So let me tell you a little bit about this. The Psychopathic God is the definitive psychological portrait of Adolf Hitler. By documenting accounts of his behavior, beliefs, tastes, fears, and compulsions, Robert Waite sheds new light on this complex figure. But Waite's ultimate aim is to explain how Hitler's psychopathology changed German and world history. With this book, we can begin to understand Hitler as never before. So, yeah. Oh, this is going to be good. Oh yeah, his relations with women, crazy stuff. This is going to be so good. So thank you, Amy, if you're watching, for just putting this one on my radar. And just a creepy cover. Look at that painting. So it does look psycho. It does look psycho. So yeah, just an oddball one that I just wanted to pick up and do a little further reading on my own. Okay, and let's see. Let's go from that extreme to the far other extreme, and we go from Hitler to, some people will make a joke about it, I'm sure, but from him to the Apostle Paul, right? I have several books on Paul. I've got like one written by N.T. Wright, a couple of other people like studying Paul as far as the theology and Christology and this kind of stuff. But I had never seen this little slim volume by Bruce Chilton. And so I picked up Rabbi Paul, an intellectual biography. Again, and I haven't read Rabbi Jesus either, which is his other book. little slim volume, but I picked this up used. This came out in give it to me. Sorry, not 2004. 2004. And it says here, without Paul, there would be no Christianity. His letters to various churches scattered throughout the Roman Empire articulated for the first time the beliefs that make up the heart of Christian practice and faith. In this extraordinary biography, Bruce Chilton explains the changing images of Paul from the early church period when he was regarded as the premier apostle who separated Christianity from Judaism to more recent liberal evaluations which paint him as an anti-feminist, homophobic figure more dedicated to doctrine than to spiritual freedom. By illuminating Paul's thoughts and contributions within the context of his time, Chilton restores him to his place as the founding architect of the church and one of the most important figures in Western history. All right, so, and this is not a very big book, about 270 pages or so. So I thought, you know what, let's just go ahead and check this one out. I always enjoy intellectual biographies too. Those are some of my favorites, subgenre of biography. So this is another one I found in my wanderings, my secondhand wanderings. Ooh. So then I kind of went down a rabbit hole with some World War II history. And I think David Murphy also gave me a tip-off to this one book, which led me to the next book. So this is Anthony Reed and David Fisher. And I found this beautiful hardcover because, you know, I love to have history in hardcover, especially if they're big books. I generally like to have a firm hardcover. Sorry, this is The Deadly Embrace. Hitler, Stalin, and the Nazi? Where did that come from? The Nazi Soviet Pact, 1939 to 1941. So, cover's coming off a little bit. You know, the spine's a little loose, but it's okay. I mean, this is actually a really good edition. All right, let's see here. Yeah, really good binding. This book came out in 1988. So, let's see. At dawn on June 22nd, 1941, the greatest military operation in world history burst across the face of Eastern Europe. So that we're basically talking about Operation Barbarossa when Germany invaded the Soviet Union. It goes back to talk about the August 1939 non-aggression pact that Stalin and Hitler signed together. And then, of course, it goes into in the days preceding Barbarossa, how Stalin, you know, he just ignored the repeated warning signs from his intelligence. And it could, you know, it's just another story, another history on how the whole pact between them and how it went wrong. And this is one I have not read. And I've heard of Anthony Reed, and I probably have read at least one of his books before. See what else he's written. Well, they're not listing his bibliography right here. But anyway, so I was like, well, let me check out Anthony Reed's book because I'd like to kind of have this one along with my others on Operation Barbarossa and just the whole history of Hitler and Stalin. Getting a little dark in that background. Let me try to fix that. There you go, guys. Turn that up a little more for you. All right. Okay, so pick that one up. And then, when I was browsing for that one, I came across this one, and it looks really good. I know there's been a slate of books recently. Most recently would be this one that I have in hardcover, but they just released this beautiful trade paperback, so I want to give a shout out to this one as well. I So now I've got the trade paperback and the hardcover of this, but this most recent one was Hitler's People, The Faces of the Third Reich by Richard J. Evans. As we all know, Richard J. Evans is one of the premier authorities writing on Nazi Germany and the Third Reich in general. So it's a beautiful, if you don't want to have a big, heavy hardcover, this one is out from Penguin Random House. So along the lines of this type of study, now this is like one of the more recent ones, to go back in time and see some of the older history written about the people closest to Hitler. This book came out, the first American edition was in 2004, but in England or UK, wherever it came from, was 2003. So this is Anthony Reid with no co-author. This is his massive study, The Devil's Disciples, Hitler's Inner Circle, which I think, I bet you Richard Evans probably has this in his sources. Let's take a look, shall we? I always love looking at bibliographies. And of course, bibliographies give me so many more ideas about what I haven't read yet on the topic. Let's see. We got Reid here. And, oh yeah, yep, that's part of his bibliography, is Anthony Reid's The Devil's Disciples. So Evans cites this massive book, and I definitely wanted to have this one in my collection when I dip in and out. I've got the Hitler shelf, which is hidden down below, so as not to, offend people. It's definitely hidden away. It's not only not in the living room library, and not in the parlor library. It's all the way up in my office on the lowest shelf. I've got like 5 different Hitler biographies and a bunch of different books touching on Hitler studies and Hitler whatever. So this one's going to go down there as well. But what does Reid do in this book? Okay, now remember, as I'm reading this book came out about 20 years ago. So it says here, The Devil's Disciples is the first major book for a general readership to examine Hitler's closest lieutenants, not only as individuals, but also as a group. It focuses on the 3 most important Nazi paladins. Great word, paladins. Goering, Goebbels, and Himmler, with their nearest rivals, Bormann, Speer, and Ribbentrop, in close attendance. Others who were removed in various ways, like Gregor Strasser, Ernst Röhm, Heydrich, and Hesch, play supporting roles. Making the fullest use of diaries, documents, and memoirs, The Devil's Disciples offers fresh insights into their characters and their relationships to one another and to Hitler. So let's see. The book is a powerful chronological narrative showing how the personalities of Hitler's inner circle developed and how their jealousies and constant intrigues affected the regime, the war, and Hitler himself. And it is essential reading for anyone with an interest in the Nazi period or the workings of a dictatorship. So this is really good stuff to study if you're wanting to kind of understand how these things happen in countries. I see a lot of overtones in our current administration. I'm not trying to be political. I'm just stating a historical fact that what we're seeing is something of historical note. 20, 30, 40 years from now, people will be writing about what we're living through. And hopefully the ending will be, look how close we came. Look how close we came to what happened in 1930s Germany. It's serious, folks. I mean, if you don't know history, you need to know history. Outside of this country, you need to go and study this. This is really important stuff. I've been looking at maybe starting up some type of book club on this channel through one of the organizations that I partner with or I support. Let's see, Veterans Fighting Fascism. It's called the Anti-Fascist Book Club, and I'd like to do a chapter of it on this channel. So if anyone's interested, we could be doing a book every other month maybe. with a reading list. Like I think one of the first books we start off with is Hannah Arendt's The Origins of Totalitarianism. So let me know in the comments below if anyone's interested. If anyone's still watching at the 35-minute mark, I should say. But anyway, so again, picked up this one right on the heels of Focus. Okay. Picked this up right on the heels of The Deadly Embrace. So kind of going on an Anthony Reed kick here. And then another author that I've had on this channel at least 3 times now, right, for author interviews, is the author I just recently interviewed as we went over her trilogy on the Berlin Airlift, Helena P. Schrader, or Schrader, she goes by either, the Bridge to Tomorrow trilogy. And this is her final book in the trilogy, Cold Victory. I can't recommend it enough. It's an engrossing, well-written, and well-researched historical fiction series. But Helena has written a lot of different books on a lot of different topics, and for a while, she was writing books on the Crusades. In fact, she's sent me a lot of her books. One of them is set, I think, during the Crusades. A couple of them are also the time of the Templars in the Crusader states. But she wrote this book, which I found used, and I was able to pick it up. This is history on this. This is The Powerful Women of Outremer, the Forgotten Heroines of the Crusader States. So like I said, she's writing fiction now, but she has written several nonfiction. She wrote a best-selling one on the Berlin Airlift, but she also has a lot of historical stuff, like this one here. If I can do this without all the books falling over. She also wrote The Holy Land in the Era of the Crusades, Kingdoms at the Crossroads of Civilizations, 1100 to 1300. This was published by Pen and Sword, as was this one. She also wrote, oh my gosh, going back to World War II, Codename Valkyrie, General Friedrich Obrecht, and the Plot Against Hitler. So, she's done a mix of history and fiction. This is the one I did not have, and so I wanted to pick that up to kind of help complete my Helena P. Schrader library. Let me tell you a little bit about this one. In the mild climate of the Mediterranean, a rare blossom once bloomed, a prosperous urbanized society inhabited by various ethnic and religious groups living harmoniously together for nearly 200 years. At the apex of this society ruled a feudal elite notorious for its wealth and love of luxury. It was composed of politically savvy, diplomatically adept, well-educated, and multilingual men and women. These women played an astonishing and indispensable role in shaping the character of their unique society. They were ruling queens, independent barons, nuns, and pilgrims. They were merchants and artisans, diplomats and spies. They were warriors defending besieged cities, and the most pitiful victims of conflict as slaves after a defeat. While many primary sources readily recorded specific and noteworthy actions taken by individual women, there is no comprehensive or systematic description of women's contributions to the life and society of Outremer. All we have are fragments of a mosaic badly damaged by time. Yet even these remnants have largely been neglected due to the prevailing emphasis on the era's military history. So, The Powerful Women of Outremer redresses that imbalance. In a chronological narrative, women's contributions to the Crusader states are highlighted. The book then explores women's societal role in thematic chapters. Finally, a series of short biographies shine a light on the lives of individual women. So that's great. This book gives a clearer understanding of the importance of women to the history of the Near East and a richer picture of the women themselves. She's got biographies in the back. And we have, of course, some great maps. Oh, got some family trees going on here. So I picked this up a while ago, probably after our second to last interview with Helena. But yeah, because I think these came about because I interviewed her about this novel that she wrote. that was also kind of rewritten and updated. I still have it tabbed from when I read it, and then interviewed her. The Tale of the English Templar, which was a fantastic story. I loved it. Again, and she publishes all of her fiction under her own imprint, which is called Cross Seas Press. So I'll link her channel or her website below, where if you want to find some of these books, you can. So I think it was during that interview that she was mentioning some of the wonderful sources that she used to help write that book. And this was one of them that I could find that she said, I think she even showed it in the interview, and I was able to find my own copy of it. This is Helen Nicholson's The Knights Templar, A New History. So it's an older book, but she says this was a fantastic reference for her to kind of understand even just like daily life as a Templar. This book came out, and who was the publisher? Sutton Publishing. This is a UK book. Okay, so this was like 2001, and this particular copy was printed in 2004. So a nice kind of coffee table sized book, wonderful pictures, illustrations, artwork. So when she recommended this, I was like, I'm going to check this out. So I got one book by Helena Schrader, and then the one that she recommended. So 2 more used books I picked up along the way. This is my most recent used book, relatively most recent. I got this probably about a week ago. I've been buying a lot of books and reading. I'm starting to read, after the Judas Effect, a lot of books about the failure of the evangelical Christian movement to rise to the occasion and speak out against non-Christian behavior and teachings that is coming out of the MAGA movement. Okay, sorry, I have to speak truth. And this was another book that I hadn't seen before. And so I've got several past the Judas Effect that I want to read. I want to read the Separation of Church and Hate by John Fugelsang. I've got The Violent Take It by Force. I can't remember the name of the author. And then there's another one. But here's a smaller volume that came out a little bit about 2023. Okay. And this one, is this? Oh, is that, did he write this too? Wait a minute. This guy's written a book on JFK, and it's called Camelot's End, and I thought I've always had it on that back shelf in my videos. But anyway, this is Inside the Evangelical Movement That Failed a Generation. Sorry, that's the subtitle. The title is Testimony, and this is by John Ward. I'll read to you real quick. John Ward's life is divided in half: 20 years inside the evangelical Christian bubble and 20 years outside of it. In Testimony, Ward tells the engaging story of his upbringing in and eventual break from an influential evangelical church in the 1980s and 90s. He sheds light on the evangelical movement's troubling political and cultural dimensions, tracing the ways in which the Jesus People movement was seduced by materialism and other factors to become politically captive rather than prophetic. A respected journalist, Ward asks uncomfortable but necessary questions as he calls those inside and outside conservative Christian circles to embrace truth, complexity. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I'll get to that in a second. To embrace truth, complexity, and nuance. Yes, thank you. I should have kept reading. Complexity and nuance. You can have both at the same time. Ultimately, he longs for a return to the way, the truth, and the life of Christ. Amen. Yes. I cannot wait to dig into this one as well. I like reading about a person's personal experiences, not just like writing it from a intellectual or like, this is my research book. I'm researching this topic and I have no personal say about it. You know, like maybe some of these other books written by journalists. kind of covering the topic. This is about someone who was in the movement. That's why Amy Hawke's book, The Judas Effect, really was so powerful for me as well. She shared about her life and how she came to faith, and then how she was just like mortified when she saw our beautiful faith in Jesus Christ being just desecrated by people who thumping their Bibles, but yet such hypocrites, just disgusting. It makes the the real followers of Christ out there, we're sick. We're sickened. And I want you all to know that. And that's why it's just like they're giving Christianity and faith in Jesus Christ such a bad name. And it could take decades to undo the damage that has happened in the last 10 to 20 years with this marrying of faith and with politics and power. It's disgusting. And it has nothing to do with Jesus. So that's me. That's all I'm going to say. So I picked this up very recently. This is going with the others that I plan on tackling very soon over the break as well. Okay, so now we're going to move into some fun fiction. Let me just say, these are kind of like books one-offs I've picked up here and there, but I've recently discovered this series. I think it was a very limited series, and it's a mystery series, and I'm delighted to start it and finish it, and then I'll pass these books along. In fact, I just ordered the fourth and final volume. And this author, she just put out a brand new novel, which is set in contemporary times. So, and it's like a thriller called The Gallery Assistant. But this is the first book in the series, I believe. And this is Deception by Gaslight by Kate Belly. And this is a Gilded Gotham mystery. And as you can see, I bought it used, so I still have all the library stuff on here. I might take off the Mylar cover just so the rest will all match. So this is a series that began... When did this book come out? 2020. Okay. I'm not sure if she's going to keep this series going, but either way, I'm going to have all four. And then we'll go from there. 47 minutes. Let's see. As a chill sets in on New York City in the winter of 1888, a jewel thief dubbed the Robin Hood of the Lower East Side has been stealing from the city's wealthiest and giving to the poor. Genevieve Stewart, a young woman whose family is part of Mrs. Astor's famed 400, but who has forged a life of her own as a reporter, decides to chase the story, but gets more than she bargained for. A murder victim sprawled in a dark alley in the dangerous 5 Points neighborhood. Okay, so then it kind of goes into that. So she's a reporter. And this was her first novel. It says in the back. This is our author. And like I said, she just has a brand new book out called The Gallery Assistant, and I think I have that copy downstairs, and I'll show it to you in a new fiction haul. So I do want to read that, knowing that she wrote the series. The second book in the mystery series is called Betrayal on the Bowery. It just sounded really good. These are put up by Crooked Lane. The third one, I got this one, I think, from Book Outlet for like $5. Treachery on 10th Street. And then the fourth one, I think, is called Opulence of Ashes. And I just ordered that from Hamilton Book for like $4. So I'm all caught up. And we'll see if she comes back to this or not. I don't know. The next book I've been meaning to check out, and I wanted it in hardcover. I didn't want it in... When they're really big books, I like them in hardcover. This is by Eleanor Catton, and this is The Luminaries. Winner of the 2013 Man Booker Prize? Or was that for another book that she wrote? When did this come out? Let me check. No, this one won it. It's fantastic. So it came out in 2013. Big, juicy novel. I love the cover. I love it. Shades of like the luminosity of the moon, the different phases, and then there's, a portrait behind it. Fantastic. It is 1866, and young Walter Moody has come to make his fortune upon the New Zealand goldfields. On the stormy night of his arrival, he stumbles across a tense gathering of 12 local men who have met in secret to discuss a series of unexplained events. A wealthy man has vanished, a prostitute has tried to end her life, and an enormous fortune has been discovered in the home of a luckless drunk. Moody is soon drawn into the mystery, a network of fates and fortunes that is as complex and exquisitely ornate as the night sky. Richly evoking a mid-19th century world of shipping, banking, and gold rush boom and bust, The Luminaries is a brilliantly constructed, fiendishly clever ghost story and a gripping page-turner. It is a thrilling achievement for someone still in her mid-20s. Hello, Eleanor. And will confirm for critics and readers that Eleanor Catton is one of the brightest stars in the international writing firmament. So as you can see, when I read that description, I'm like, no kidding. She wrote this in her mid-20s? That is crazy. Or even earlier, if it came out when she was in her mid-20s. But doesn't that sound great? A nice, big, juicy type of novel that is almost, well, no, it is. This could be if you guys are looking for a novel to read in March of the Mammoths, this is over 800 pages. The Luminaries by Eleanor Catton. Also in the category of books I never would have discovered or went to look up unless I had heard about it from somewhere else. I recently finished this one, I'd say about 2 months ago. Brand new book, put out posthumously by David McCullough's daughter and his closest associate, Michael Hill. History Matters. I've got the nice finished hardcover copy. This is from Simon & Schuster. I wrote a review of it for Shelf Awareness. I believe it's already posted on my social media. But in this, there was a great couple of little segments in here where, yes, this was a great little chapter, where David McCullough is reading and writing a recommended reading list. And I just got so many ideas from this. Also, when he was talking about, I think there was a separate book or separate chapter where he mentioned some other novels that he really enjoyed. But he mentions this writer of historical fiction that he loves, and I had never heard of him. So I just love reading recommendations from historians and writers that I really admire and respect. And so he was mentioning this writer. This one's nonfiction. I thought this was okay. Well, I guess this guy wrote both fiction and nonfiction. I'm not sure, but he mentioned Paul Horgan. And he said he loved this one as a historian. It kind of helped him on his own way. But Great River, the Rio Grande in North American History. So I found this used. I think I bought it from Midtown Scholar bookstore. Great condition. Just great condition. Let's see. Winner of both the Pulitzer Prize and Bancroft Prize for History, Great River was hailed as a literary masterpiece, an enduring classic when it first appeared in 1954. It is an epic history of 4 civilizations, Native American, Spanish, Mexican, and Anglo-American, that peopled the Southwest through 10 centuries. With the skill of a novelist, the veracity of a scholar, and the love of a longtime resident, Paul Horgan describes the Rio Grande, its role in human history, and the overlapping cultures that have grown up alongside it or entered into conflict over the land it traverses. Now in its 4th revised edition, Great River remains a monumental part of American historical writing. So he goes on at not a lot of great length, but he does mention that book in here. David McCullough does. Also, as well, he mentioned this okay, this is not okay. What? No, it is a novel. Yes, it is a novel. I don't know why I got it confused. So he has this great work on the Rio Grande, but then David McCullough mentions this novel that Paul Horgan wrote called A Distant Trumpet. And I have seen this before. I've seen this cover before, but I never really, I guess, gave it much thought until I read that David McCullough loved this book. This is a used copy. This is back from like Godine Publishers, Nonpareil Books. Look at this. This was published in 1960. Okay. And what is this one about? A distant trumpet. A magnificently sweeping tale of the American West, played out in the aftermath of the Civil War, is heroic in scale, rich in dramatic action, with brilliant characterization. This epic book offers a three-dimensional pageant for the daring and dangerous frontier life, yet it also depicts memorable individual characters with a rare clarity of detail. 30 years after its original appearance, this immensely popular major work of fiction, over 500,000 copies were printed, is ready to attract, inform, and be embraced by a whole new generation of readers. Now, that description doesn't say much at all. And I forgot to mention, the copy I have here says 30th anniversary edition. So this was published in 1991, but the book was originally in 1960. So yeah, that book jacket copy doesn't say much about the actual plot. But I can find that elsewhere. But I just, I was like, hey, if it's good enough for David McCullough, it's good enough for this history chick right here. So yeah, that's what I got. That's 55 minutes. We're going to be in right under an hour. Like I said, it took many months to accrue these, and I just wanted to share them with you. Let me know what you thought below, or think below in the comments about any of these books. If you've read them, if you have any further insights into some of these. But yeah, thanks for joining me. Let me know too if you would like me to start doing some book wrap-ups, things I've read. I keep meaning to do those books or do those type of videos. I just have to make sure that I'm not talking about books I've written reviews for a fee. So that's how I'm doing it. So the things I do for free, I'm going to put it out there for you guys as well. And I'll start kind of compiling those kind of book reviews for you on the channel. We'll see what that looks like. It's harder to review a book on video than it is in writing, just because I'm a better writer than I am a spokesperson. So but anyway, if you think I can give it a shot and you wouldn't mind watching that, I will do it. I will do it for you. All right, guys. But in the meantime, subscribe to all my social media. That's where I post news about my latest written reviews. Sometimes along with some personal stuff, personal pictures and things like that. So follow me on those. Subscribe. Please like the channel. And until next time, guys, thanks for joining me here at the History Shelf. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.